The night was quiet, but it wasn't peaceful. The kind of quiet that makes the wind whistle through broken windows and creeps into your bones like a warning. The abandoned Ridgewood General Hospital loomed like a ghost on the edge of town, its shattered glass eyes watching the world with silence. Years had passed since a single soul walked its dark hallways. Locals whispered of shadows moving in its corridors, of faint cries that echoed through the night. But tonight, something real was happening inside its crumbling walls, and no one could have imagined what they were about to uncover. The police cruiser lights painted the cracked pavement in flashes of red and blue. Officers stood tense, hands resting on their holsters, staring up at the lifeless building. Only one figure moved with certainty, a German Shepherd canine named Archer, his ears pricked, body rigid, eyes locked on a third-floor window. Then he barked sharp, loud, insistent. The sound sliced through the eerie stillness and every officer froze. Because sometimes a dog doesn't just bark. Sometimes it pleads, it warns, it tells a story no human voice can. Before we go further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the loyalty of animals that see more than we ever can, please pause for a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Your support helps us bring more stories of hope, courage, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. The officer in charge, Sergeant Cole, felt something stir in his chest as Archer refused to stop barking. It wasn't just the sound, it was the urgency, the desperation in the dog's body. Archer's paws scraped against the ground, his muscles straining toward that broken window. Something, or someone, was inside. And Archer wasn't about to let them ignore it. The squad entered cautiously, flashlights cutting through the stale air. The hospital smelled of mold and rust, the scent of abandonment clinging to every wall. Debris crunched under their boots, and graffiti whispered messages of forgotten rebellion. Archer led the way, nose low, tail stiff, guiding them through the skeletal remains of the once bustling building. He stopped suddenly, ears twitching, and then sprinted ahead, dragging his handler toward a stairwell. The air grew colder with every step upward, shadows lengthening as though the building itself was trying to hold on to its secrets. When they reached the third floor, Archer halted at a locked door, his teeth bared, growling low. Cole forced the door open, and what they saw stunned them into silence. Inside, huddled in the corner beneath the very window Archer had barked at, was a boy no older than 12. His face was pale, his clothes tattered, his eyes wide with the haunted look of someone who had lived through too much. The child flinched when the light touched him, raising his hands as if to shield himself. Beside him, scattered on the ground, were empty food wrappers and a small, worn-out blanket, signs that he had been there for days, maybe longer. The officers exchanged glances, none of them speaking, their hearts tightening as the reality sank in. Someone had left him there. Someone had abandoned him in this decaying place where no one was supposed to go, and if not for Archer, the boy might never have been found. Cole lowered his flashlight and crouched down slowly, but it wasn't him the boy's eyes followed. It was Archer. The German Shepherd stepped forward, calm, steady, his head tilted with a gentleness only animals seemed to know. The boy's trembling hands reached out, hesitant, then buried themselves in the thick fur around Archer's neck. The dog didn't move, didn't flinch. He simply stood guard, as if to say, "You're safe now. I've got you." The ride back to the station was heavy with emotion. The boy didn't speak a word. He just clung to Archer, his small body pressed against the dog's warmth as if afraid the world might take him away again. The officers watched in silence, each realizing that this wasn't just a rescue, it was a miracle. Archer had sensed something no one else did, had listened to a silent cry for help that humans could not hear. In the days that followed, more details came to light. The boy had been missing for weeks, his disappearance chalked up to a runaway case. But the truth was darker. He had fled from a place of cruelty where neglect and violence had stolen his childhood. The abandoned hospital had become his hiding place, his prison, his only refuge. And yet, it was also where fate placed him in the path of a dog whose loyalty knew no limits. Slowly, the boy began to heal. At first, words came in whispers, barely audible. Then, piece by piece, he opened up, about the pain, the loneliness, the nights spent cold and hungry. But through it all, there was one constant: Archer. The K9 became more than a rescuer. He became a guardian, a bridge back to trust, a reminder that not all living things hurt you. Every visit from Archer brought a light back into the boy's eyes. He smiled when Archer nudged his hand, laughed when the dog wagged his tail in excitement. And for the officers who had seen too much darkness in their line of work, those small moments felt like victories greater than any arrest. The story spread through the town, touching hearts far beyond the walls of the police station. People came forward to help, offering clothes, food, and support for the boy. And through it all, one truth became clear: sometimes the heroes we need aren't the ones in uniforms, but the ones on four legs, with paws that lead us to the places we're too blind to see. And so, what began as a routine patrol at an abandoned hospital became a story of redemption, love, and the extraordinary bond between a child and a dog who refused to give up on him. The building may still stand as a husk of the past, but to those who know the story, it will forever be remembered as the place where a bark saved a life. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Your support allows us to keep telling the stories that remind us of the goodness in this world, even in its darkest corners. Special request to comment: tell us in the comments below, what does loyalty mean to you, and has an animal ever changed your life in a way you'll never forget?